Good morning, St. Lucia. Good morning, distinguished guests, ministers, community leaders, creatives, and everyone joining us here at Odsan today. Welcome to the launch of the National Dive Sculpture Park exhibition, Below St. Lucia, Her Heritage, Her Culture, Her Story, presented by the Ministry of Tourism, Commerce, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture, and Heritage. I am Jessie Leonce. I'm honored to be your Mistress of Ceremonies today. Now, if you were worried about the downpour earlier, it was really raining a lot. Don't worry. It looks like, for now, our honored icons are giving us a little break. They've taken over the weather control in the skies. So let's hope that the rain steadies continuously. And as long as these skies hold up for the rest of the event, we would have officially gotten their approval. Yes? Underwater event. I think they're trying to stick with the theme. Some are trying to stick with the theme, some are trying to give us a break. Anyways, let us all stand to honor God and country. We begin with the national anthem. The national anthem will be played by Mr. Glenn Henry. Let us remain standing for the prayers to be delivered by Monsignor Dr. Patrick Anthony.
Au nom du Père et du Fils et du Saint-Esprit, vive la rose, la rose. La gloire, la gloire, la gloire, no was, no glory. Let me hear you, Saint Bouchans. À la croix, no was, no glory. Par mon Dieu, nous vous remercions, nous vous honorons aujourd'hui. Un bel petit jour, nous ensemble, pour nous honorer, glorifier, et puis, surtout, pour nous remercier pour ces gens qui ont bâti cette ici. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, this wonderful moment, when we gather to honor you as we honor the sons and daughters of this land. Behold how good and how pleasant it is, brethren dwelling in unity. It's like the precious oil upon the head, running down upon the bed, upon Aaron's bed, upon the collar of his robe. It's like the dew of Hermon who falls on Mount Zion. There the Lord gives his blessing, life forever. Continue, Lord, to bless this nation. Bless our leaders. Bless our people. Give us a sense of who we are on this planet, Lord God, unique in our identity. We thank you for your grace and your blessings. Continuez, Papa, vous préserver nous, bénir nous comme nation. Voyez la gloire à ce nom. Qu'on fait prier ça, Papa, non, en nom de notre Seigneur Jésus-Christ, en l'union du Saint-Esprit, ainsi soit-il. Au nom du Père et du Fils et du Saint-Esprit, ainsi soit-il.
You may take your seats. Thank you. As we begin, just a quick note, please ensure that your mobile phones are set to silent. Also, we kindly request no photography, no meta glasses, and no photographic devices at all when we head into the warehouse. So you have been forewarned. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to kick off our morning of celebration, please, sorry about that. We want to, at this time, call on our Permanent Secretary in the Department of Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture, and Heritage to give the opening remarks. Okay, so profuse apologies on behalf of the team. We were just ticking off who's here and who's not, given the inclement weather. Fair? Thank you. So we want to acknowledge the presence of our Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. He's also the Minister for Finance, Constituency Development, People Empowerment, and National Security. Honorable Alvina Reynolds, President of the Senate. Honorable Dr. Claudius Francis, Speaker of the House of Assembly of St. Lucia. Dame Perlette Louisi, Governor General Emerita. Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Tourism, Commerce, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture, and Heritage. Honorable John Paul Estefan, Minister in the Ministry of Tourism, Commerce, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture, and Heritage. Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, Minister for Health, Wellness, and Nutrition. Honorable Sean Edward, who's not here as yet. Honorable Wayne Girard, Minister for Economic Development and Youth Economy, and the Parliamentary Representative for Ancillary Canneries. Other members of Cabinet, we also want to acknowledge the presence of Lady Janice Compton, Honorable Alfred Prosper, Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly of St. Lucia, Mr. Auguste Degazon, Cabinet Secretary, Her Excellency Nico Su, the Ambassador of the Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Ms. Donalyn Vite, Permanent Secretary in the Department of Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Heritage. Other permanent secretaries, chairmen, CEOs, and board members under the portfolio of the Ministry of Tourism, including the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Invest St. Lucia, Events Company of St. Lucia, Community Tourism Agency, Citizens by Investment Program, Cultural Development Foundation, Folk Research Center, National Conservation Authority, St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Authority. Good morning, everybody. I now want to invite to the lectern our Permanent Secretary in the Department of Tourism, Ms. Donalyn Vite.
Thank you very much, Madam Mistress of Ceremonies. I don't think I will attempt this breathless verbalization of our protocol, but Honorable Prime Minister, with all due respect, we recognize you here during the inclement weather with us. And thank you for recalling our Minister from vacation. We needed him there this morning. Our role at the ministry is to develop a tourism product which is representative of our people. Therefore, as we nurture its development, we must create opportunities and possibilities for our people to improve their lives. In a deliberate manner, we as stewards of the sector must dream and vision together with you. While this philosophy has guided the creation of spaces in many communities, we saw it fitting to respond to the long-standing product development gaps in tourism, but this time in the blue economy. St. Lucia is home to about 22 dive sites. Over time, these sites have faced significant pressure, including overdiving at some locations. Over the years, there have been many efforts by the Divers Association, and I see them here today, thanks for coming, Obaglo, other dive operators and institutions to safeguard some of our reefs with coral outplanting and other nurturing and conservation activities. The SMMA itself has played a strong role in this drive by managing and caring for the reefs under its jurisdiction. But as a ministry, we are aware of the value of reefs and the need to ensure a thriving dive sector, the employment, local businesses, fish biomass, recreation, and the spin-offs are real. The Ministry of Tourism has stood firm on the side of the Department of Fisheries over the years to work with the dive community. In fact, wrecks have been sung to facilitate the creation of hybrid reefs. You know, this is the only event I've ever been nervous for. No, seriously. Like, this is such a big deal for us. And I think if I don't tame myself, I might just cry. But this is really a big deal. No. I'll just fall. However, in a more sustainable way, we recognize that this project was important on many levels. Reducing pressure on existing reefs to allow rejuvenation, create a major tourism attraction for St. Lucia that has legs and will reach far and wide, create livelihoods for communities, develop a differentiated product, and tell a story of St. Lucia and St. Lucians. We must also note the combined effort to create the St. Lucia Dive Festival. We also note our first underwater wedding a few years ago. The journey for the underwater sculpture park has therefore been built on collective effort of the dive community and other agencies to advance the blue economy. But today, what is important, Christopher? We did it. This has by no means been a walk in the park. February 2024, Senator Givian Ferdinand and I met Mr. Nicholas Camden in St. Martin as a precursor to hiring in his company, Deep Blue Sea, to undertake the feasibility study for an underwater sculpture park, and also to identify possible locations along the West Coast where the sculptures will call its home. Based on the feasibility, It meant that we were to focus on the belt between Millennium Highway and Canaries. And along these conversations, I think the happiest campaign here is seated in, what's the color? Coral? Appropriately colored, right? For us at the ministry, we knew this would be a legacy project and therefore agreed that all St. Lucians must participate in its development. We launched a storyboard competition and used these same stories to develop the park. Within all the processes we encountered, what stood clear was that the park must stand tall to those near and even far, and must tell the story of who we are as a people. This led to the decision that the underwater sculpture park will be constructed as a corridor, but with 3 sites. Park 1 is themed around St. Lucia's history and is a dive sculpture park to be located, guess where? Unveiled, Canaries. Park 2 is themed around St. Lucia's culture and is a snorkel park to also be located in unveiled, Canaries. Park 3, one of our most special parks, is themed around St. Lucia's heritage and is a dive conservation park to be located in Cicero. This park This park will also will serve as an underwater observatory to the lookout point in Ansfair. And every time I look to my right, PM, you remind me of our Marshall Artisan Village. We'll be coming to it very soon. Today, we focus on the History Dive Sculpture Park to be located in Canaries. The park measures approximately 65 feet by 365 feet and comprises 5 galleries. There are 33 large pieces weighing each over 5 tons, but altogether, the park consists almost 200 pieces. Each sculpture, each piece tells a story. The park will offer a number of products for which a 45-minute dive stands out and will be attractive for divers. While we have been working on the park's physical characteristics, we have also been looking into its operations. Chiefest part of this will be the communities of Ancillary and Canaries, who will be involved in activating CAMA, Canaries Ancillary Management Authority, and operating the park. Over the next few weeks, work will continue to institutionalize the organization and prepare for operations with the support of the ministry, along with SLASPA and other key agencies. From a small project idea to a concept that proved to be a mammoth task. Again, St. Lucia, we did it. This project is intended to stimulate activity via the blue economy, enhance the marine environment, and reduce pressure on the current dive sites and coral reefs. But more inland, the ministry has led the construction of a restaurant and market under the World Bank in Canaries. The Community Tourism Agency is looking into the development of an inclusive project and transforming the Canaries Old Church. While we press on to complete the lookout point in Canaries, which will be open in November, by the way, a dive center is also being designed and will be constructed as the home of CAMA within the village. Therefore, this project is seen as a catalyst with the potential to transform the community and bring economic possibilities for residents and other players. We therefore call on the community to reap the benefits and also be stewards to protect this investment for future generations and to treat it as a shared space. Understanding that this project belongs to St. Lucia and not all of us are divers, the decision was to host this exhibition so that you and the rest of our public will be able to interact with the sculptures before they are installed on the seabed. We also graduated some divers as part of this project, and there's 3 from the ministry and others from the community. Danica J. Charles is now a certified diver, part of the project unit. Where's Danica? Amanda Torres, who's part of the certification unit, is also a certified diver, together with Josiah Alcide. My application and that of Minister is currently being filled. Thanks for all those who participated in the stakeholder engagements, agencies, dive operators, community residents, fisherfolk of ancillary and canneries. These were our most special cohorts. Your contribution guided us through. Thanks to the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, who worked with us to develop the identity and brand for all theme parks. You journeyed with us below. Dexter Purcell, Janella Ogis, Andre Hutchinson, and the rest of the team, thank you very much for your effort. Dame Paulette Louisi, the only living sculptured legend. You were a great sport, and I think this was an opportunity to really get to know you behind the doors of what you know, where you stayed for many, many years. Dr. Filjans, although you represented Sir Arthur Lewis Community College and the family of Sir Arthur Lewis, you have been tremendously supportive, and we would like to highlight you today. You have been with us from the start, validating some of the facts that actually came out of this project. Thank you, Doc. Our production team, including Deep Blue Sea, you have worked round the clock with us. You have taken the pressure, but you have delivered a wholesome project. I would like to recognize the team leader, Nicholas Camden. Please stand, Nick. Murray, Sherry, George, if you could all take a bow. And there are a few others from the team who are not here with us today. Owen, Ramon, and Louis. It has been a long road, but we made it. Team Tourism. I cannot do it without you. I don't think we can do it without them. Your continued diligence in the development of our tourism product, while balancing product development, destination management, certification, investment facilitation, tourism research, and more, is greatly appreciated. If you have one cheerleader, it's me when you're doing the things right? In the next few weeks, Deep Blue Sea team will transport the sculptures on flatbeds to Cul-de-Sac, loaded on a barge, and then taken to Anse-la-Verdure, where they will be installed. The public will witness all of these, and the proceedings will be captured live, hence why we're restricting photography during the exhibition. But this is not all. We are working with the UBEC project under the Ministry of Finance, a World Bank project, to move to phase 2 and phase 3, which is the Snorkel Culture Park and Heritage Conservation Parks, which we hope to start before the end of this year. Although the Dive Sculpture Park is a big deal, there is more to come. This is the last, well, at least the largest single project that in my tenure at the ministry that I'm aware government has invested in. And the number of beneficiaries are far and wide, and I think it deserves an applause. Bravo, Minister for Finance, and bravo, Minister for Tourism. With all said, it is my distinct honor to welcome you all to the opening ceremony of our national exhibition, where we create history with our History Dive Sculpture Park. Thank you for coming to what we deem to be a historic occasion.
Thank you very much, PS, for those insights and just laying out what today's initiative is all about. Now, how many of you are looking forward to diving? Diving? You know, I mean, this world is made up of two types of people. People who dive and people who do not dive, right? Come to think of it, people who do not dive are the true philosophers of the world, you know? Yes, we live longer. We live longer. The floaters, frolicking on the sand, on the shore. We close our eyes and we take in the sun, sea, and the sand from a safe distance. Just joking. But ultimately, if you ask them, aren't you going to see the statues? They will reply, you see the statues? They aren't going anywhere, and neither am I. Ladies and gentlemen, to see what the underwater world will truly look like once the tide comes in, let us turn our attention to the screens for a short visual presentation titled The Journey.
As we reach the final stage of the initiation of the underwater sculpture park, it's a most interesting story, how we got started and the journey that we followed. For the innocent bystander, just hearing about the park, seeing the fantastic shots of what it will look like, and even seeing the sculptures, might believe that it was an easy task. But it required a lot of hard work from the team at the Ministry of Tourism, as well as the other stakeholders that we worked with. The first step along the journey, just the brainstorming, and we sent a team to go to Grenada, go to St. Martin, the Department of Fisheries, the Ministry of Tourism, other stakeholders, to go and to see what exists in Grenada, what exists in St. Martin, and they came back and reported. And we kind of decided then that we certainly wanted to take it to a different level. And of course, we got a bright idea. Why not make it a touristic attraction, but also make it a very powerful statement of presenting our identity to the world? So we moved from initially wanting to have an underwater sculpture park to then wanting to have something that combines history, culture, heritage with tourism, and of course conservation. So we started off for feasibility study that speak to how it is we can implement the first park and ensure that we're capable of delivering it in the shortest possible time. But exactly what would be the story that will be told for the underwater sculpture park? And we decided, let's launch a national storyboard competition to invite St. Lucians to tell us what's the story, how do we carry that story, how do we present that story, what's the content of the story. And I think we got about 31 submissions from all over St. Lucia. Fantastic presentations, and we worked again with stakeholders. How do we take all those beautiful ideas and put them together in one presentation? And it took a lot of work, a lot of consultation implementing the sculpture parks. We had to sit with them now, present our story to them, and for them to tell us how can they, and if it's possible in the first place, to capture that in an underwater sculpture park.
So we would have consulted over 50 or 60 persons from various agencies. I mean, not name all, but to include the Folk Research Center, the CDF, SLASPER, URBAGLO, the Dive Association. Included as part of the consultation were the fishermen, like we mentioned, were part of the cornerstone of our consultation process. And it evolved for us identifying 3 sites out of the many sites, out of 10 sites that consultants came up with as feasible. Most of them were pointing to the West Coast, the belt between Ancillary and Canaries. And it meant that we would have gone on water, on boats, with the fishermen, with the marine sector, SLASPA, and all of the other agencies to be able to vet those locations and identify how the community itself will benefit from this engagement. We had the 3D file development, and the 3D files actually needed us to get pictures of particular capsules in time where we identified our change makers and the persons who would have been sculpted to be able to represent them in a particular form. Throughout the fabrication process, one of the things that stand very close to our heart was the involvement of the youth. We reached out to all of the schools within the vicinity and in Castries, as well as in some of the rural communities, and we provided the avenue where students would bus to the fabrication site to understand what was being created and the process of creation, all the way to how the community and how the ecosystem of St. Lucia can benefit with the sculpture park being installed. So apart from the students' capacity being developed to understand the park and its benefits, we have also undertaken training for several persons. And actually there are 3 persons from the ministry who have already graduated and become certified divers. This very same training is being offered to many persons within the community that will form the management of the park. We are proud to be part of the pioneering team of St. Lucia's first underwater sculpture park.
What a powerful vision laid out and executed by the Ministry of Tourism and the consultants and all involved. Give them a round of applause. We would like to also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Calvin Lee, he's the Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Department of Tourism, other Deputy Permanent Secretaries here today, heads of government departments, chief technical officers, and very importantly, the families of change makers. Staff of the Ministry of Tourism, some of whom you saw on the screen, some of whom we are now aware are certified divers on account of this initiative, and specially invited guests. Online viewers, we want to let you know that this is being broadcast live as well. Members of the media, everyone, morning once again. Good morning. Now, to deliver remarks on behalf of the constituency and the community that anchors so much of our coastal heritage, please help me welcome the Minister for Economic Development and Youth Economy and Parliamentary Representative for Ancillary Canneries, the Honorable Wayne Girard.
Good morning. I have to acknowledge my Prime Minister, the Honorable Philippe Joseph Pierre, the Deputy Prime Minister, other members of Cabinet, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, community leaders, partners, and members of the fishing community of Ancillary and Canneries. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to join you at this national exhibition and to reflect on a project that I believe has significance far beyond the attraction itself. When we speak about tourism development, we often speak about visitors, investment, infrastructure, and economic returns. But there is more fundamental questions that we may always ask. How does the development improve the lives and livelihoods of the people of the constituency that I represent? The question is at the heart of the vision for Ancillary Canneries. The Underwater Sculpture Park provides us with a unique opportunity to bring together tourism, environmental protection, community development, and economic prosperity. But I believe its greatest value will come not simply from the visitors, what visitors see beneath the water, but from what we build above the water and within the community to sustain it. In particular, I want to emphasize knowledge transfer and community ownership. The people of Ancillary Canneries have generations of knowledge about the sea. Our fishermen understand the waters, the currents, the reefs, the seasons, and the changing conditions of the marine environment. That knowledge itself is a resource. We should therefore not think of our fishermen as being on the margins of this development. They should be at the center of it as custodians, guides, educators, monitors, and beneficiaries. As we progress towards the establishment of Below, we must invest in the people who will help and protect and manage it. That means creating opportunities for training in marine conservation. And we have started that thanks to my allocation from CDB and the help of Community Tourism Agency. Some of my constituents have already started the training in some of those particular areas. Visitor safety, guiding, interpretation, environmental monitoring, and sustainable tourism. This means ensuring that the knowledge and skills remain within the community so that the community can take ownership of these assets over time. And there is an even bigger opportunity. Protecting the marine environment is also about protecting lives and livelihoods. The health of our ocean is directly connected to the future of our fishing communities. A healthy marine environment supports fish, protect ecosystems, strengthen tourism, and contributes to the resilience of our communities. So the sculpture park should not be viewed as something that competes with fishing. Rather, it becomes a platform for which we demonstrate how conservation, tourism, and fisheries can work together. A fisherman who becomes a trained marine guide has not abandoned his knowledge. He has simply expanded his economic value. A young person who learns to monitor the marine environment is not simply acquiring a technical skill, they are becoming a steward of our community's future. And a visitor who comes to experience the sculpture park should leave not only having something remarkable underwater, but having encountered the culture, the food, the history, the fishing traditions, and the people of Anse Canneries. We should not develop one project in isolation of everything else. We should create connections. Connect the underwater sculpture park to fishermen. Connect tourism to conservation. Connect investment to local enterprise. Connect young people to new skills and opportunities. The vision for Anse Canneries is bigger than a single project. And if we get this right, the underwater sculpture park will become more than just a tourism attraction. It can become a living classroom, a conservation asset, a source of livelihoods, and a symbol of what is possible when communities are given the knowledge, skills, opportunity, and the right member of parliament. As we look at the tourism developments taking place around the country, let us therefore measure success, not only by the numbers of visitors we attract, but by the opportunities we create, the livelihoods we strengthen, the environment we protect, and the knowledge we pass on to the next generation. Because ultimately, we are not simply building something for people to visit. It's about building something that we can own, protect, benefit, and pass on. This is the opportunity before us in Anse Canneries. This is the opportunity before us in Anse Canneries. And that is the vision worth protecting and defending. I thank you very much.
Maman dit que l'âge que je bien, on finit toujours pas tu veux.
Elle dit qu'elle n'a jamais de long, qu'elle pas très sauvé travailler. Maman dit travailler c'est bien, bien mieux que tu m'as accompagné, pas vrai.
Où est ton papa? Dis-moi où est ton papa? Sans même devoir lui parler, il sait ce qui ne va pas. Un sacré papa. Dis-moi où es-tu caché? Ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois que j'ai compté mes doigts. Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, où t'es, où papa, où t'es? Où t'es, 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 où t'es, où papa, où t'es? On y croit ou pas, ou en bien jeu, on y croit la pou, ou en douleur, on aura tous papa, et d'un jour à l'autre, on aura disparu.
C'est nous détestable, c'est nous admirable, des géniteurs, des génies, t'as tout qui donne des sausages responsables.
Dites-nous qui, tiens, tout le monde sait comment on fait des bébés, personne sait comment on fait des papas. Monsieur, je se dois hériter, c'est sa faute, c'est son pouce, quoi. Dites-nous, c'est caché, ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois que j'ai bouffé nos doigts. Où t'es, papa, où t'es? 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 Où t'es, Sans même devoir lui parler, c'est ce qui ne va pas. Ah sacré papa, dis-moi où est tout caché. Ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois que j'ai compté mes doigts. Où est tout papa? Dis-moi où est tout papa? Sans même devoir lui parler, c'est ce qui ne va pas. Ah sacré papa, dis-moi où est tout caché. Ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois que j'ai compté mes doigts. Où t'es, papa, où t'es? 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 Où t'es, papa, où t'es?
Give it up once again for combined voices. Very powerful vocalists right there. As they were singing, the harmonies were just so beautiful. They sang in tune. I'm no expert, but I'm just saying. Yeah. We're going to, as a matter of fact, while they were singing, I felt like I was in the water, diving past I know I said divers, non-divers are the philosophers of the world, but I really began to become convinced that I could do it, you know. I could do it. Everybody's feeling good? The rain is coming down. I'm not sure our icons who are looking up above, I'm not sure. I think they got the wrong memo. We're not doing the underwater diving today. Yeah, I see some people, they need wetsuits in the back. So sorry. Flippers, snorkels. We'll try that a little later on. But our next speaker needs very little introduction. She is a true national treasure. She is a champion of St. Lucian cultural heritage, education, and culture. I want you all to please give a warm, cozy welcome to Governor General Emerita Dame Prelette Louisi.
Thank you, Ms. Leons, for such an introduction. Sitting in the front row, I didn't realize, how many people there were. And I'm starting to feel a little, out of sorts. But I was told I should be brief, so I'm going to say that up front. And I was asked to wear a hat. I mean, what's today? Today's Tuesday or Thursday? I mean, normally, Friday. Oh, thank God it's Friday. Normally on a Friday, I wouldn't be, so attired, but I was asked to do so. And I chose the blue because it was below water and the sea and all that. And a little bit of yellow because I figured out it was St. Lucia. If you look for it, Right. So, Honorable Prime Minister, members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, friends, it is indeed an honor to have been considered as one of the country's change makers, and to be placed in the company of Nobel laureates, freedom fighters, national heroes, and homegrown pioneers. So I've whetted their appetite. So that's what you're going to see in a while. Nobel laureates, freedom fighters, national heroes, homegrown pioneers, and then Dimple at Lucy. What is very novel, though, is the environment which we change makers will be sharing in the next few weeks. We earned our place by scaling the pinnacles of our fair Helen in our own time and space and field of endeavor, in our own time, in our own space. But in a short while from now, well, you know, they're short and short. Maybe it will take another 3-4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. We will all be anchored side by side below St. Lucia, relating our history, our heritage, our culture. On behalf of all those who are no longer with us, physically that is, and on my own behalf, I would like to thank those who conceptualized this project, those who executed it, those who funded it, those who supported, those who encouraged it. It is indeed, you'll find out, an imposing work of art, a fitting monument to our country's achievements, its potential, its resilience, its creativity. You know, life is strange. Although I was born and grew up in a coastal village, within sight of the sea, I kept a cautious distance from the seemingly restless comings and goings of this body of water. I had been taught and warned that the sea had no branches, none to hold onto if you lost your grip. As Mommy would say, my grandmother that is, Ishmael, la mer pas ni blanche, veille pour corps. And I took her quite seriously. I won't be found in the sea, anywhere where the sea goes above my waist. So, you know, I walk the sea. I don't swim. Yet, in the next few weeks, there will I be, not only submerged, but anchored to the bottom of that self-same sea. Yes, où j'aimerais bien comme ça. Je say, Ishmael, moi t'ai parlé. There you are. I should have listened and perhaps made an effort to go below there. But you will see me at some point, pearls, insignia, eyeglasses, a hat and all. I have been promised a trip to Anslavedi, but who knows whether I will be able to muster enough courage to accept the invitation. The warehouse over there is one thing. I was here yesterday to see what it was all about, but the seabed is quite another. Maybe I'll be content to view the video, I'm sure, from a safe space on dry land. So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think? Should I throw caution to the wind and take that dive? I don't know. There was a gentleman yesterday, I think his name is Murray, and Murray was sure that, you know, he could take me down safely to see myself, you know, underwater Well, no, that's the problem. He didn't say whether I would be, come. The way he spoke, I probably would I would be there with the structure, with seaweed and coral and all kinds of sea life going in and out. I mean, it looked nice, but I figured out, I sort of prefer the fresh air pair. So, we'll see. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Dame Paulette Louise, for those remarks ahead of what will be the unveiling of her sculpture. Of course, Dame Paulette, you have been a true beacon to our country, for our country, especially for many young people, many young girls growing up in the nook and crannies of St. Lucia. She has shown us the height of excellence, service, and vision. And we want you to think long and hard before you make that decision to go underwater. But among the change makers immortalized within the sculpture park stands one person, as we indicated, Dame Paulette, who continues to carry forward a legacy of service, leadership, and inspiration. Her contributions have helped shape our society and have left an enduring mark on the lives of countless St. Lucians. The underwater sculptures tell the story of resilience, vision, and transformation. Today, we are honored to welcome the only living change maker represented in this extraordinary collection, a person whose life and work embody the very spirit of progress and nation building that the park celebrates. We are so honored to celebrate Dame Paulette while she's here, to give her flowers, or give her flowers today. We are honored to do that.
With all the wonders in the world, St. Lucia's only meant for me. So much history to be told and so much more for eyes to see. The colors, feel the love, I can tell you all the way.
And it's so wonderful to see Dame Paulette in her retirement. She doesn't know what day of the week it is. Quote unquote. What day of the week it is, I aspire. I aspire to those heights. Once again, a round of applause for Dame Paulette. And I want to invite you to enjoy a rendition to be done by Michael Fletcher, violinist extraordinaire. Give him a warm welcome. Michael Fletcher. We do have some new work coming from him, one of St. Lucia's very own. Look out for his music at a streaming site near you. I was just standing listening to the music and looking at Dame Paulette's sculpture, and I just want to give commendations to the consultants, everyone who was involved on the craftsmanship and the does it look like her? Yeah, it looks like, she's questioning it, but it does look like you, Dame Paulette, it really does. So let's give a round of applause for the craftsmanship, the master sculptors who brought this piece to life. And I would dive to look at that. Yeah? So Dame Paulette, if you're going to do it in the next few weeks, I will dive as well. And if Dame Paulette dives, everybody here needs to dive. Okay? We need to all get our certification if we see that she is able to do it. So we hold her to that. We now want to call on Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Tourism, Commerce, Investment, Culture and Heritage to the podium to deliver a few brief remarks.
Thank you very much, Mistress of Ceremony. Jessie said a few brief remarks. I ain't so sure I'm going to be that brief today. But allow me to recognize the established protocol and to recognize the presence of Honorable Prime Minister and my cabinet colleagues. I have to start off by expressing sincere appreciation for the support given by the Prime Minister as Minister of Finance and my cabinet colleagues. The Permanent Secretary did not go into a lot of detail, but the whole process of getting approval for the financing to do the project takes time. And we went to the Prime Minister and we made a case and we said, look, we cannot wait on their time. And the Prime Minister is always fond of telling us we all have an expiry date in the politics. So guided by the fact that my time might have expired, we decided to make a case, and he made available the resources for us to go ahead and ensure that at least we started the process. And I know we're going to move forward quickly because he whispered to me, he said, at least now I see where the money is going, which probably says that he's kind of happy with the decision to give us the monies up front to start the process. I should also apologize on behalf of Honorable Lisa Jawaye, who is not present. We are in her constituency, and she did provide quite a lot of support for us to have this place ready today in terms of the playing field and getting everything in place. And of course, she's Minister with responsibility for fisheries and the marine life. So she really regrets not being here today. And if you know Honorable Jawaye, she would not miss being here today. So let me also recognize all the distinguished invitees, and in particular, the families of some of the persons who will be in the first park, the history park. Now, you'd recall we have two other parks coming. So there's some individuals in here who may be, I'm not putting anything out there, in the other parks to come. So I'm serving notice that the process requires you to sit and concrete to be poured over you to get the right mold for you. So I see Paba shifting uneasily in his seat. The Paulette is frightened of going at the bottom and not coming back up. Some people might not get out of the concrete mold. But, as I sat and I listened to the first part of the proceedings, it is clear to me that what we are witnessing here today is a journey of vision in motion. The Permanent Secretary has taken us through that journey. The video has allowed us to visualize it. A vision for tourism and the blue economy, beginning with a seed planted as an idea and moving to research, a national storyboard competition, consultation, design, validation, fabrication, training, and now finally, these extraordinary pieces of art. And some of our change makers put on display for you to witness. I will not rehearse the story that has been presented by the PS and will be made available in written and video form. But I want to tell you a little more of why this occasion today and this project is extraordinary for us. The opening ceremony symbolizes both our vision and our responsibility as a nation. With deep pride, I joined the team at the ministry to declare that this is the first underwater sculpture park in our country and the first of its kind in our region. Across the world, underwater art has demonstrated that nature, culture, and tourism can coexist. That global idea is now rooted in our coastline and the projects that we will undertake. From the very early planning stages, we were sure we wanted to develop a sculpture park. But at the same time, we wanted to ensure that the park meshed with our government's philosophical underpinning, and that is to always put people first. It was therefore deliberate that St. Lucia's history, culture, and heritage be the themes of the park. And because our story is so vast, we recognize that one park alone could not tell that story, hence the proposed development of 3 parks. Someone might ask, why did we do this? The answer begins with a simple truth about my government's belief, and Minister Girard said it, that tourism must improve the lives of our people and tell the story of St. Lucia and St. Lucians. St. Lucia has established an enviable reputation internationally. For 17 years, we have distinguished ourselves in honeymoon and romance tourism, earning recognition as both the Caribbean and the world's leading honeymoon destination. In the last 3 years, we have expanded that recognition into adventure and nature-based tourism. Several of our properties in St. Lucia have also captured recognition for sustainable tourism, while Castries was crowned one of the best emerging culinary cities, and Soufrière continues to earn international acclaim as one of the Caribbean's best places to visit. While we are elated about those accolades, we recognize that there is a lot more work to be done to develop our country. So it stands out as a destination of choice for every single person. For my government, the single driving force has been putting people first. Taking up office as Minister of Tourism in 2021 gave me the opportunity to scan the entire tourism sector and to sit with my team led by the Permanent Secretary to determine what would be the key priorities for development and growth in keeping with the government's philosophy. One of the areas that stood out, and for which we have quite a bit of mileage to cover, is the blue economy and particularly dive tourism. On land, St. Lucia possesses a wide range of experiences. Surrounding that land is an equally extraordinary marine environment. Our conversations with the dive community about Badlo reinforce both the opportunity to expand our underwater attractions and the responsibility to protect the natural dive assets we already possess. Hence the drive to undertake this project. We all know St. Lucia operates in an intensely competitive global tourism environment. Almost every destination has a beautiful landscape. Almost every Caribbean island can offer sunshine, beaches, and hospitality. Therefore, we must differentiate and we must innovate. We must continually give the world new reasons to choose St. Lucia and new reasons to return to St. Lucia. This government has therefore been deliberate in approaching tourism from both sides of the equation. We must market the destination aggressively, but simultaneously develop a destination with our people in mind. Our recently announced partnership with Arsenal Football Club gives St. Lucia access to an enormous international audience and strengthens our visibility in important markets. Our partnership with Global Ports Holding is transforming the physical infrastructure in Castries, Banan Bay, of course, and Soufrière, through which hundreds of thousands of cruise passengers encounter St. Lucia. We have advanced new tourism development legislation. We've established a community tourism agency, which has been working with communities to develop some gems. And over the next few months, we will be presenting more projects to you, from Masha to Prale to Canaries to Soufrière. Yes, Masha, yeah. We have reintroduced the Tourism Rangers program. We are now about to introduce a lifeguard program. Across St. Lucia, we are upgrading beaches, vending facilities, and I invite you to visit the new Ridgely Beach facility. Visit the Montpimad facility, which we all opened in the last couple of months. We are improving viewing points, and the Permanent Secretary announced we will be opening Canaries very soon, and hopefully start the Soufrière Heritage Lookout Point. So all over St. Lucia, we are improving the infrastructure, both for St. Lucians and for visitors to our country. But today, when you walk among these sculptures, you will see another part of that strategy, the development of our blue economy. Soon, the sculptures will leave this exhibition space. They will be transported to Anslaverdi, carefully installed beneath our waters and arranged into galleries. There, underwater, they will tell the story for generations to come. St. Lucian history stored underwater. Gallery 1 takes us to our indigenous beginnings. Gallery 2 introduces the arrival of Europeans and the encounters, exchanges, and conflicts that followed between newcomers and the indigenous inhabitants of this land. Gallery 3 depicts the colonial struggle between France and Britain, and what better metaphor than a chessboard. St. Lucia became a piece on a much larger imperial board, contested, captured, and exchanged as European powers maneuvered for advantage in the Caribbean. But our people who lived there were never really chess pieces. And so the story moves on to Gallery 4, slavery. It confronts one of the most painful periods of our history, the forced movement and enslavement of African people, whose labor, culture, resistance, and descendants would fundamentally shape this country. Then comes Gallery 5, resistance, our freedom fighters and the road towards emancipation. St. Lucia history must not simply tell the story of what was done to our people. Rather, it must also tell the story of what our people did for themselves. They resisted, they survived, they fought, they built, and they transformed. Gallery 6 brings us to the post-emancipation period and the emergence of the change makers who helped carry St. Lucia towards political, social, and economic advancement. Among all the change makers stand 3 monumental pieces, approximately twice the scale of the other sculptures, representing Sir Joseph Quintin Charles, Sir George F.L. Charles, and Sir John Compton. No matter what argument there may be about who or who should not be a change maker, I don't think any solution can argue that those 3 persons fundamentally transform our country. Think about that for a moment. We are going to place these monumental representations of St. Lucian history beneath the sea. That, in my view, is powerful art. It is almost an underwater time capsule. Our history given physical form and entrusted to another environment where people will literally descend beneath the surface to discover who we are. And that is precisely why we could not simply fabricate these structures and quietly take them to the sea. Before we place them below, St. Lucians needed an opportunity to appreciate them from above. That is why this exhibition matters. That is why we have invested so much effort in the stories. That is why so many St. Lucian creatives were involved. That is why our young people were invited to imagine and produce the storyboards. And that is why the families connected to the personalities represented here deserve our profound gratitude. To those families, thank you. for allowing the stories and legacies of your loved ones to become part of this national undertaking. And there are countless others whose names may never be cast in concrete, but whose sacrifices created the St. Lucia we inherited and continue to enjoy. We can see one sculpture now, and with this I must recognize the single living change maker for the History Park, Dame Paulette Louise. And of course, a lot can be said about Dame Paulette. For persons like myself, we would all remember her from the many years when she was principal of the St. Lucia A-Level College. And I will tell you, she gave me my first lecture on leadership at St. Mary's at the A-Level College at a time when a lot was happening in this country. And I was really proud to be part of a process that selected her to be Governor General and to redefine what the role of head of state must be in this country. And I think just from her presentation, you can understand why she's loved by so many St. Lucians. So I don't need to say anything more. And I hope she does not repeat the stories of my days as a student at the A-Level College. So, but enthusiasm alone is not sufficient justification for a project. Projects must solve problems. It must create lasting value. And wherever possible, one investment should do several things at once. So this project will create a new tourism attraction, but it also preserves and interprets history. It commissions St. Lucian creativity. It creates new marine habitat. It supports education. It creates opportunity for community participation. It strengthens the dive product. It creates new content for destination marketing. And it establishes a model that can be replicated as we develop the two remaining parks. Based on the assessment undertaken by our consultants, we see a potential of over 10,000 visitors to the park in the first year, growing to over 30,000 visitors annually by year 3. Those numbers matter because they represent utilization of the asset, supports livelihoods, and strengthen the case for return on public investment. And of course, Ministry of Finance will not give us any problems for more resources that we will need. But they also demonstrate that thoughtful product development can transform our cultural and environmental assets into sustainable economic activity. Let me be clear. As we develop this attraction, our commitment is to ensure that tourism within this space remains safe for visitors and operators, respectful of the ecosystem, and consistent with environmental protection standards. Government's responsibility does not end when the ribbon is cut. In fact, that is where a different responsibility begins. The Department of Tourism is actively examining the most appropriate sustainable management structure for these facilities. Our responsibility is to ensure that when these facilities open, there are clear systems for operation, maintenance, environmental protection, revenue, accountability, and community participation. The state's investment must always be protected. And the people of the community surrounding this investment must be able to recognize themselves in its development and benefit from its success. That is why the fishing communities of Ancillary and Canaries have been engaged throughout the development of the project and why they must remain part of its future. The activation of the Canaries Ancillary Marine Management Association, CAMA, will therefore be an important part of the management architecture we are developing for this park. And most importantly, our fisher folk will be treated as key players. To the Canaries and ancillary fishing community, this is your livelihood. Your knowledge of the sea and your role as guardians of this marine space are central to the success of this initiative. This park will provide real economic opportunities, including employment and training. Boat operators will benefit. Park support staff will benefit. So the benefits are shared equally and inclusive opportunities also created for youth and women through skill development in hospitality and marine stewardship. I want to end by acknowledging the staff of the Department of Tourism. There is a difference between completing an assignment and believing in one. Projects such as this do not emerge from routine administration. They require people prepared to research, challenge assumptions, challenge the minister, coordinate agencies, listen to communities, work with artists, guide the design experts, navigate the approval process, monitor the ongoing work with the project, report on these activities, and return each morning prepared to solve the next problem that might emerge. To the project team in particular, thank you. To the Permanent Secretary, a very special thank you for your dedication and commitment to ensure that the team delivered. The entire team has approached this mandate with soul, with depth, and with a willingness to think beyond the conventional boundaries of what a tourism department is expected to produce and how public servants go about their duties. The mandate we've given them has always been clear. Tourism must work more meaningfully for the people of St. Lucia. That requires us to think differently about what tourism infrastructure looks like, where investment takes place, who participates, and how the benefits of our most important industry reach communities that have historically stood outside the center of tourism activity. That mandate is being pursued seriously and will always be pursued with the same level of dedication that was shown for this project. I also want to acknowledge the design and fabrication team at Deep Blue Sea, our artists, our technical and environmental experts, our partner government agencies, community representatives, and all the persons who have contributed to this project. To all the people of St. Lucia, I invite you to come and see these sculptures whilst they are still above water. Bring the children, ask the questions, find the stories you recognize, and perhaps discover something new about the history of St. Lucia you never knew. The sea will begin to transform them. Marine life will inhabit them. Divers will move among them. Visitors will photograph them. And long after today's speeches have been forgotten, these figures will remain beneath the waters of St. Lucia, telling our story. Let us walk through this exhibition today with pride, knowing that when St. Lucians experience these works on land, and when visitors eventually descend beneath the sea to encounter them, they'll be encountering something that can only have come out of St. Lucia. I look forward to tuning in over the next few weeks and seeing all those in here who will be prepared to go dive in and experience it below water. I've already heard commitments from Dame Paulette, from Jesse, and I think on Monday in Cabinet we'll pass a Cabinet conclusion that all members of Cabinet will be required to take a dive to experience the underwater sculpture park. You would appreciate that as minister, I would have had enough exposure to the idea, so that may not apply to me. But with those words, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Minister. Did I say brief earlier? I meant one of the chief remarks. That's what I was trying to say. As Minister Ernest Hilaire hit the nail on the head, noting that this project, it really gives travelers a brand new reason to visit, and more importantly, to keep returning. That is the true magic of what we're launching here today. It is a living, breathing piece of art and history that will ensure that people do not just check St. Lucia off a bucket list once, but they continue to come. There is curiosity about what is new about our little island in the sun. And at the heart of this underwater sanctuary are the very icons who shaped our island story. It is only fitting that we plunge into these waters. We pay homage to the visionaries, the culture bearers, and trailblazers immortalized here today. Let us now turn our attention to the remarkable change makers whose legacies are carved into these sculptures, forever guarding and enriching our seas. Each sculpture tells a unique story. Together, they form a powerful tribute to the resilience, creativity, and spirit of St. Lucians across generations. Their entire lives remind us that meaningful change is possible when individuals dare to lead, serve, and work for the greater good. And as we recognize these remarkable men and women, let us reflect on their achievements. Let us draw inspiration from their journeys and renew our commitment to building upon the foundation they have laid for future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring the change makers of the Sculpture Park, whose legacies continue to inspire, educate, and shape the future of St. Lucia. Dame Perlette Louisi. Sir Arthur Lewis, Sir John Compton, Sir Derek Walcott, Sir George Charles, Haroldine Rock, Sir Joseph Quinton Charles, Marie Grace Augustine, Harold Simmons. A round of applause. At this point, the presentations will be made to the families of the change makers. Are we ready to make the presentations? Okay, so I now invite the family. Okay, first of all, we need to establish who is going to be making the presentation. So we have officials from the government of St. Lucia, the Honorable Prime Minister, the Tourism Minister, as well as Permanent Secretary of Tourism to make the presentations. So we now invite the first family. Well, not the first family. It is our living change maker, our very own Dame Perlette Louisi. Okay. Sir Arthur Lewis. Okay, the family of the representative of Sir Arthur Lewis from the college, Dr. Winston Fulgence. And now we want to call on behalf of Sir John Compton, the family of Sir John Compton, Lady Janice Compton. Now to call on Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire to present. And now, the family of Sir Derek Walcott, Sigrid, Mrs. Walcott. We have to call on Minister Wayne Girard to make the presentation. I think I just heard her say that she will be doing the dive. As she said it, I heard her. And now the family of Sir George Charles to make the presentation. We have Minister Moses Jean-Baptiste. Our next, Heraldine Rock, the family of Heraldine Rock. We would like to invite Minister Estefan. Okay, it was. Thank you, Minister. And the family of Sir Joseph Quinton Charles, to be presented by Minister Estefan. Il voulait pontuer là. And now the family of Marie Grace Augustine. So we invite the chairman of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority to make this presentation, Mr. Thaddeus Antoine. And finally, the family of Harold Simmons. Okay, we want to invite Mr. Louis Lewis from the St. Lucia Tourism Authority to make the presentation. Okay, he had to step out. Okay. Gibeon Ferdinand to make this presentation on his behalf. We'd like to thank our ministers. And these are the presentations made to the families of the change makers. Thank you all for being here today in honor of your loved ones. At this time, we will have another performance, at this time by Mr. Michael Robinson. He needs no introduction to enjoy. Give him a warm welcome.
Oh no, I've been through hell, but I'm still here. They can't break what has no fear. Oh no, 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 'cause I'm a champion. Oh, every fight I face, I rise like a lion. Battles may come, but I keep on trying. Oh, victory is mine, there's no denying. 'Cause I'm a champion. Oh, everyone okay? You guys okay? Everyone good? Let's go. Walk through darkness, no stars in my night. Gems in the dark, just prayers held tight. Every setback was fueling hard times. They wrote me off, but I rewrote my lines. I had tears in my eyes, pain in my chest. Kept my faith, God handled the rest. They didn't know my story, just hear my flows. Behind every verse is pain no one knows. 'Cause I'm a champion. Oh, Every fight I face, alright. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up, give it up, give it up, See, battles may come, but I keep on trying. Whoa, victory's mine, there's no denying. Cause you're a champion. Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, our champion, yes. Whoa, whoa. Oh, arise, 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 arise. Cause I'm a champion. Whoa, every no one's a reason to believe. Faith in myself is all I would need. Had to go to noise, block out the doubt, turn my pain into power. That's how I got out. Look at me now, they can't deny. I'm a masterpiece, I'm certified. From ashes I build my throne. This crown of mine, Prime Minister, you're a champion, you're a champion. Let's go. Cause I'm a champion. Can you sing that? Whoa, every fight I face, I rise like a lion. See, battles may come, but I keep on trying. Whoa, victory's mine, there's no. Can I see a lazy wave for all our champions? Everybody, let's go, let's go. Sing, whoa, whoa, whoa. Cause I'm a champion. Whoa. You are all champions. Thank you.
Give it up once again for Michael Robinson, a bona fide R&B artist out of St. Lucia. He just recently released this single and music video titled Champion this month to celebrate resilience, ambition, and Caribbean talent. And just to give you a little background on that single, yes, the song focuses on the hard work needed to build a music career in the Caribbean. The music video featured guest appearances from the St. Lucian Olympic champion, Julian Alfred, and acclaimed rapper Joey, I can't say his last name, who has the St. Lucian roots. So we do invite you to go on the streaming platforms and follow and listen to Michael Robinson's music. He has definitely come a long way for many years. We want to give him his flowers. Commendations. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to now help me welcome the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. He is also the Minister for Finance, Constituency Development, People Empowerment, Justice, and National Security.
Thank you very much. Talking about new ideas, it's all that rain that fell, eh? If we just harvest that water. Just look at it. You see all these. If we just harvest that water, we would have absolutely no issues for water. A new idea, right? Let me recognize my colleagues, my friends, members of the cabinet, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Health, Minister of Economic Development, Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Minister in the Ministry of Tourism, and the Deputy Speaker, President of the Senate, Speaker of the House, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Dame Paulette Louisi, Lady Janice Compton. We haven't forgotten your museum. Father Monsignor Patrick Anthony, Permanent Secretaries, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Representatives of the family of the heroes, Arthur Lewis, etc. Sometimes you sit and you reflect on certain things and you either feel happy or you feel sad. I remember many years ago, we spoke of the benefits of tourism accruing to as many people as possible. We said that the tourism industry ought to have a philosophy. It ought to be built on something. And the guardians of that industry would have to be the people, and the people would have to get direct benefits from it, apart from the benefits of the regular benefits of working in a hotel, etc. And we were ridiculed. I was at the forefront of that struggle. I was ridiculed. I was castigated. I was told I didn't know what I was talking about. And as usual, the prophets of doom and gloom were on the attack. At that time, I sat back in quiet reflection, and I knew that the time would come when somebody and some people would share that vision. Somebody and some people would understand what I was thinking of, and somebody would work with me and develop it and take it to the other level. And I really want to thank, starting with Lawrence Theophilus, starting with Menisa Rambali. They were ministers of tourism also, and ending with Ernest Hilaire. And you know, many things have been said about Ernest Hilaire. Many things have been said about Ernest Hilaire. And many things have been said about Ernest Hilaire. But you know, when you know people, because in St. Lucia, we've taken on a style of seeing the glass half empty. Every day we have a story of doom, we have a story of gloom. Every day we say to the people of this country, St. Lucia is doing badly. There's corruption, there are thieves, and the country is in a state of flux, a state of disbelief, a state of anarchy is the word I'm looking for. I'm not quoting anybody. And that is how we want to sell our country, all because the people of this country have decided in their own deliberate will to make a decision. But you also have some moments of quiet reflection. Some moments of quiet reflection. And when you see benefits of what is happening here this morning, you feel relieved, knowing that is only the beginning. And I want to thank Ernest and the staff of the Ministry of Tourism, because if you have public servants who do not share your vision or do not understand, at least they follow the policy, you can get nowhere. Public servants can make fires disappear. Public servants can forget meetings. Public servants can forget putting serious words in letters and make the whole letter has to go through the whole cycle. But public servants, if you respect them, and that's the word, if you respect them, and you make them understand that there's a policy that the people of St. Lucia gave you the mandate to follow. And regardless and in spite of what they may think about that policy, once you are not asking them to break the law or to go illegal, they must follow that policy. And the staff of the Ministry of Tourism have followed that to the T, and I want to thank them. I want to tell them that individual choices don't really matter. There's a time and place for individual choices. There's a time and place when you can show what you think about us. There's a time and place. Our system gives us a time. There's a time, and that time always comes. It happened in December, it will happen again. Could be sooner or later. But the important thing is, when that time comes and the people have decided, there is absolutely no reason why you must have a deliberate effort to destabilize and to cause the people not to benefit from policies, albeit how good they are. And I say that without any fear of favor. I say that even if some people may think this is not the place to say that, there is never a right place to speak the truth. You speak the truth at the time when it's necessary to speak the truth. And what is happening here today is not a simple process. Somebody didn't just get up one morning and said, let's do that. I'm sure, and again, you must know Ernest. Ernest actually troubled me. And you know, he has a way of doing it in little pieces. Just drop a little piece there, come back, and tell me something you think I like to hear, and ask me for it in another way. You know, and when he came at this, I went to Canaries to look at a jetty. And Wayne looked at me and tell me, boy, you see across there, we'll have a park or something. And I'm watching the sea. I thought park me talking about. So, I mean, how can a man tell me about a park in the sea? He really says so, and it was a lovely part of our blue economy. And he says to me, there'll be a park there. But I don't know whether he's set up with Ernest. Because the next day, Ernest says, boy, you know, we're trying to get a project for a park. And sometimes in government, people don't understand the procurement issues and the issues that you have to get money out of the government system. You have to tender, you have to pre-tender, you have to untender. You have a procurement policy that takes years and years and years. And you speak about some project, you say, yes, we want the project to happen, but the time that it takes, it never happens. And that is why we need flexibility, and that is why institutions like the St. Lucia Social Development Fund were created, to give that flexibility so you can do things for the people of St. Lucia with a level of flexibility but accountability. And that is why these institutions were created. And I really want to tell Ernest and the people in the Ministry of Tourism, you have the government's fullest support in what's happening here today. Because our history must be told. We have a very rich history. St. Lucia is a country of history, a country of icons, a country that can lead the world on several fronts. But we have to cherish it, we have to love it, and we have to teach it. And we cannot teach it only in terms of yellow and red. We have to teach it in terms of performance. We have to teach it in terms of what has happened, what will happen, and we have to teach it in terms of vision. And that is why I had absolutely no hesitation when the time came for us to choose, in regards of what you may hear, when the time came for us to choose for someone to put on a 100 EC dollar note, unreservedly, I recommended Sir John George Melvin Compton. Even if we had fought some political battles. But as far as I know, these battles were battles which each one of us had a vision for the country, and each one of us loved St. Lucia and wanted St. Lucia to progress. And I still hold this belief that we can do it together. St. Lucia will come from higher to higher heights. St. Lucia will grow. I do not share the pessimism that people share about this country. I do not share the belief that our country is in problems, that our country is in chaos, that our country is near anarchy. I share the belief that our country is a developing country. We have our issues as anywhere in the world. There's never been a perfect country. There's never been a perfect world. St. Lucia is part of a system, many things that we have absolutely no control of. But I think with perseverance, with commitment, with discipline, this country will survive. And I pay special emphasis to the word commitment and discipline. And when you hear the stories of Arthur Lewis, of Derek Walcott, of John Compton, of George Charles, you'll see there is one defining character in all these individuals: discipline and commitment, and getting their priorities right. So I make absolutely no excuses, regardless of what may be said, that in your consumption of alcohol, you stop. You control your consumption of alcohol so you can take the money that you spend there to send your children to school. And I will repeat it every time, although the people in this audience may not have to make that sacrifice. But there are many people out there. And you know, he who feels it most knows it. Because today as we speak, this government has spent nearly $3 million to help people to send their children to school. And we need a lot more to send more children to school, because there are still children out there who cannot afford to go to school like our children. So if I tell them to get their priorities right, if I tell them to spend a little less on alcohol, to send their children to school, I make no apologies for it, and I say it again. What am I saying? How does it relate to what's happening here today? How it relates in that we are honoring our heroes and our heroines. There's one living heroine named Paulette Rizzi. She's the only living heroine, and we are happy that we have her so we can cherish her and we can give her flowers while she's alive. And talking about flowers is very sad. We have to give Everest his flowers when he's dead. And Everest also had a vision of love for St. Lucia, a vision of belief in what St. Lucia can do, what St. Lucians have done, what St. Lucians are capable of doing, of encouraging us, encouraging our people, encouraging our students, not telling them that they are always bad and they are gangsters, encouraging them. And that is why we could have a Dame Paulette Rizzi. And that is why we could have Arthur Lewis. That is why you could have a Sir Derek Walcott. Because we always told them that the glass was half full. It wasn't half empty, it was half full. And if discipline and if commitment, we can make it. So thank you very much. I want to thank the people in the tourism industry. I want to thank Gideon Ferdinand when he was also in the Ministry of Tourism. And I want to thank the cabinet, because in a cabinet there are conflicting views. But the important thing about our cabinet is when we decide, after consensus, after discussion, when we decide we are going in a particular direction, every man and woman moves forward in that direction. And that's what's happening today. So you have the full support of the cabinet. You have the full support of the Minister of Finance when he can afford it. To have your two other parks. We want to thank our friends from Taiwan who many times they've come to our rescue and given us some support. I want to tell the ambassador, yesterday or the day before yesterday, I told the ambassador that I went to Taiwan and I asked the president for something without telling her. And Peter Cheng at the time nearly fainted. Because in this country, in that culture, you can't speak to the president unless everybody knows what you're telling them. It's not like in St. Lucia where you can tell the Prime Minister, go jump a lake. So I promised her that I would not tell the president when I saw him, when I see him, anything that I didn't tell her before. So I will tell her very early, I'll be asking the president for a few things. So congratulations, everyone. And I want to thank everyone, thank the members of the Ministry of Tourism, the St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association, and everyone, the residents of Canaries and Ansari, and everyone who has made that possible and will continue to make it possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for those inspiring words. At this time, we want to quickly culminate. We want to hand out some more tokens to select individuals. Minister of the Tourism Ministry officials to make the presentations. Okay, the first, now we have selected individuals based on our limited tokens today, but we assure you the officials will be gifted tokens on behalf of this initiative. The first official that we want to make a presentation to, the ambassador from the Republic of China, Taiwan, Ambassador Nicole Xu. We're going to call on Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire to make this presentation. Minister, please remain. We have you making a presentation to your cabinet colleague, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. This is more of a scurrying favor at the Ministry of Tourism. Yes, shameless. And to Honorable John Paul Estefan. Honorable Wayne Girard. And please note, cabinet members, this is a representative group in the initial instance. We will circle back to you a subsequent date. Okay, so the token includes a bath towel in anticipation of your dive. Yeah. So we also have the permanent secretary from the Ministry of Agriculture representing the minister who indicated that she was unable to make it today, Mr. Bradley Setange. Thank you so much for accommodating us and facilitating us in ways too numerous to mention. Chairman of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Mr. Thaddeus Antoine. Deep Blue Sea, they're the consultants who fabricated the sculptures. We want to call on Nicholas Camden to accept. Yes, and the rest of the team. So everybody, come on up, let the people see your faces. They've been working tirelessly, slaving in the warehouse to pull off these well-crafted, expertly crafted sculptures. Thank you. And finally, Mr. Augustin Poyot, he's the project supervisor. Many thanks to you, sir, for your dedication to seeing this project through. Mr. Poyot. And now we want to invite the Prime Minister. Permanent Secretary? Permanent Secretary to make the presentation.
Welcome back from vacation.
Welcome back from vacation, Minister. See the perks of working in this ministry. Thank you very much, Minister, for accommodating. So at this time, do we have the final video ready? Is it ready for viewing? Okay, so I do ask for your attention. Turn to the screen for our final video before we wrap up.
Caribbean Sea lies the story of St. Lucia, its people, its struggles, its culture, and its triumphs. The St. Lucia Dive Sculpture Park transforms that story into an immersive journey where history comes alive through sculpture, movement, and discovery. The arrival of the canoes honored the indigenous pioneers who journeyed from South America, carrying the knowledge, courage, and traditions that helped shape St. Lucia's earliest communities. At the Saladoid and Suwazoid chieftains' huts, step into the daily lives of indigenous communities, where craftsmanship, food, family, and beliefs shape life on the island. Then comes the Olive Blossom, a fractured vessel recalling the arrival of Europeans and the cultural collision that followed. Today, it becomes a place where coral and marine life create new beginnings from the remnants of history. The British and French chessboards turned centuries of imperial rivalry into an underwater game of strategy, reflecting the struggle for control of St. Lucia and its impact on the people. 7 times British and 7 times French are depicted on the black and white board. The journey changes. The path of freedom takes us to the history of enslavement, from African origins and forced transportation to plantation life, hardship, and oppression. But this is also a story of resistance and freedom through stories of uprising, the Brigand War, abolition and emancipation. We encounter generations who refuse to surrender their dignity or their hope. The passage opens. The darkness gives way to space. Emergence represents the possibilities created through freedom and the generations who transform those possibilities into families, communities, and a nation. The changemakers carry that story forward. Courageous freedom fighters, pioneering women, educators, artists, political leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. From Flor Bois Gaillard and Petronil Dwin to Mary Grace Augustine, Sir Arthur Lewis, Sir Derek Walcott, Dame Paulette Louisi, Harold Harris Simmons, Geraldine Rock, Sir George Charles, Sir John Compton, and Sir Joseph Quintin Charles. Each represents a different chapter in St. Lucia's journey. Together, they remind us that a nation is built by people who dare to resist, create, lead, and imagine something greater. And the story does not end here. Beneath the water, the sculptures continue to transform. Coral grows, marine life returns, new stories emerge. This is more than an underwater attraction. It is a living archive of St. Lucia's journey. Dive into the story. Explore. Discover. Remember. Protect.
on our agenda for the afternoon? So after the first round of photos, we will take photos with the government officials, members of cabinet. So please stick around. Thank you very much. And we now invite the cabinet members to join for a quick photo, group photo.
Caribbean Sea lies the story of St. Lucia, its people, its struggles, its culture, and its triumphs. The St. Lucia Dive Sculpture Park transforms that story into an immersive journey where history comes alive through sculpture, movement, and discovery. The arrival of the canoes honored the indigenous pioneers who journeyed from South America, carrying the knowledge, courage, and traditions that helped shape St. Lucia's earliest communities. At the Saladoid and Suwazoid chieftains' huts, step into the daily lives of indigenous communities, where craftsmanship, food, family, and beliefs shape life on the island. Then comes the Olive Blossom, a fractured vessel recalling the arrival of Europeans and the cultural collision that followed. Today, it becomes a place where coral and marine life create new beginnings from the remnants of history. The British and French chessboards turn centuries of imperial rivalry into an underwater game of strategy, reflecting the struggle for control of St. Lucia and its impact on the people. 7 times British and 7 times French are depicted on the black and white board. The journey changes. The path of freedom takes us to the history of enslavement, from African origins and forced transportation to plantation life, hardship, and oppression. But this is also a story of resistance and freedom. Through stories of uprising, the Brigand War, abolition, and emancipation, we encounter generations who refuse to surrender their dignity or their hope. The passage opens. The darkness gives way to space. Emergence represents the possibilities created through freedom, and the generations who transform those possibilities into families, communities, and a nation. The change makers carry that story forward. Courageous freedom fighters, pioneering women, educators, artists, political leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. From Flore Bois Gaillard and Petronil Dwin to Mary Grace Augustine, Sir Arthur Lewis, Sir Derek Walcott, Dame Paulette Louisi, Harold Harris Simmons, Geraldine Rock, Sir George Charles, Sir John Compton, and Sir Joseph Quentin Charles. Each represents a different chapter in St. Lucia's journey. Together, they remind us that a nation is built by people who dare to resist, create, lead, and imagine something greater. And the story does not end here. Beneath the water, the sculptures continue to transform. Coral grows, marine life returns, new stories emerge. This is more than an underwater attraction. It is a living archive of St. Lucia's journey. Dive into the story. Explore. Discover. Remember. Protect.
As we reach the final stage of the actual initiation of the Underwater Sculpture Park, it's a most interesting story how we got started and the journey that we followed. For the innocent bystander, just hearing about the park, seeing the fantastic shots of what it will look like, and even seeing the sculptures, might believe that it was an easy task. But it required a lot of hard work from the team at the Ministry of Tourism, as well as the other stakeholders that we worked with. The first step along the journey, just the brainstorming, and we sent a team to go to Grenada, go to St. Martin, the Department of Fisheries, the Ministry of Tourism, other stakeholders, to go and to see what exists in Grenada, what exists in St. Martin, and they came back and reported. And we kind of decided then that we certainly wanted to take it to a different level. And of course, we got a bright idea. Why not make it a touristic attraction, but also make it a very powerful statement of presenting our identity to the world? So we moved from initially wanting to have an underwater sculpture park to then wanting to have something that combines history, culture, heritage with tourism, and of course conservation. So we started off for feasibility study that speak to how it is we can implement the first park and ensure that we're capable of delivering it in the shortest possible time. But exactly what would be the story that will be told for the Underwater Sculpture Park? And we decided let's
Shall we
tell us, what's the story? How do we carry that story? How do we present that story? What's the content of the story? And I think we got about 31 submissions from, all over St. Lucia. Fantastic presentations, and we worked again with stakeholders. How do we take all those beautiful ideas and put them together in one presentation? And it took a lot of work, a lot of consultation, implementing the sculpture packs. We had to sit with them now, present our story to them, and for them to tell us how can they, and if it's...
So don't be selfish, baby.